What's going on, everybody? Tom Quiet here, live and amplified. I hope y'all are having an absolutely amazing day. Before we jump into our podcast here with Jess Jocoy, I did want to jump in here and say thank you to Josh over at Pecos Flavors Winery for letting us record the podcast over at his venue before her show last night. Just wanted to jump in here and thank you, man. If anybody wants to check out the Liberty or Pecos Flavors Winery, you can do so on Facebook. Just type in Pecos Flavors Winery or the Liberty Inc., and it'll show you all the shows they have coming up. And they got some really cool stuff happening this summer, and can't wait to hang out some more. But once again, thank you so much, Josh. Really appreciate it. And we're going to jump right into our podcast. So here we go. We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up. Yeah!
Welcome back to another live and amplified indie fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. We have Jess Jocoy joining us here live in Roswell, New Mexico.
Woohoo!
How's it going?
No, I'm great. Literally just came in off the road. So hopefully I don't know if this is going to be actually filmed or if there's no video evidence. That should be great because I'm a little road weary.
It happens. You know, so you came in from Abilene, correct?
Yeah.
Did you get out before the rain? Because when I pulled into Abilene, it was starting to get a little frothy.
It was raining. It wasn't very long, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing I couldn't handle.
Fair enough. Because I got caught in a hailstorm yesterday.
Oh, yikes.
So we were down in College Station, and we had to come back up, and we didn't realize that it was going to be storming as bad as it was. Mm-hmm. And we get into, like, one of the little towns outside of College Station, and it's like starts hailing on us. And not just like little pea gravel, like quarter size hail. And it's like, ew, that's no good.
No thanks. Yeah, no, knock on wood, we missed that one.
Yeah. And you're heading to Apache Junction. Every time I hear that one, I think of Bad Santa. Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen Bad Santa, so don't judge me. What's funny is everybody's got their own thing, right? So when I think of it, my mom used to live there.
Yeah.
Or I think her dad was stationed at Apache Lake.
Okay.
So she's like, oh, I'm so excited. I get to go to back to my old stomping grounds a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, it's from Bad Santa, they do a bit where this kid is asking Santa Claus where he keeps the reindeers. Yeah. And he says, I don't know, the suburbs, kid, because they were based in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, which one?
Which suburb?
Apache Junction? So, yeah.
Perfect.
It works.
Sure.
It's just one of those moments where it's like, oh, when you said that, I was like, that's very funny.
Yeah, so. That's awesome.
So how's your tour been going? You've been kicking butt you've been on the road, what now, 2 weeks? Or not quite?
Shoot, I don't even know. I got to Texas on tax day. That's what I know. Fair. April 15th, I rolled into town, and it's been going good. I mean, there's been a little bit of downtime between shows, which I love and I don't love. Yeah. It's fun to explore the towns and see what's what, but also, it's like hotels and no work to I guess make it worth it. Right. So it's been a good lesson in learning, though, because this was kind of the year I told my family, and then I told my boss, I was like, yeah, I'm just kind of going to take a step back from the day job and pursue music. And thank God my boss is so chill and such a good guy. And he's like, okay, well, just let me know your time off. And more importantly, he always lets me come back. Yeah. So I never fail to tell people that. And then, so I started dates in January, and then just kind of here and there been going out, and this run was 20 days total, I think. Nice. So.
And is the Apache Junction, is that's your last show of the tour, or you got a few?
No, I play Phoenix the night after, and then I'll be heading home.
Fair. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a trek right there.
I know, and then I just picked up a work shift to go back to work on the 10th, so I have to be home by the 10th. I know that.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, at least going back to Nashville from Arizona in general, at least you'll go more north and get to go through a completely different part of the country.
Yeah, I
think. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think we're going think I heard Oklahoma to Arkansas, which, that's cool. I think I've done that. I did a show, if not a run, in Oklahoma like a couple years ago. So I'm sort of familiar with the route, but yeah, I'm excited. It's been a fun trip, which I'm excited for my bed because hotel beds are killing me.
Right. I'm not looking forward to, like, I know the place I'm staying at tonight, it's a place I stay at all the time, and it's just like, I do it because it's cheap, but that bed is just not going to do it for me.
There's some sacrifice. For me, it's the pillows.
Yeah.
The mattress is one thing. It's the pillows that I'm like, every morning my neck just feels like it wants to break in half.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
I can usually make any pillow work because depending on what hotel, they'll give you like 3 or 4 of them, and it's just like...
Yeah, but they all deflate. That's my
true.
thing, is like, it's fluffy when you start off, and then you wake up at like 2:30 and you're like, I basically might as well be sleeping on a rock.
Fair enough. So how'd you find our nice little winery here in Roswell?
Google.
Nice.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't give away my Houdini secrets, but so many of these venues that I've played is just Googling live music in.
Yeah.
The life of an independent musician is... You do it yourself.
Right. And it's just trial and error at that point.
Oh, totally. Yeah. This place looks like it's going to be great. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some really killer shows at this place.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm stoked. I have like stumbled upon some that you walk away at the end, you're like, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But,
so when I lived here, they had just opened this place. They used to be over on Main, but I think like the roof caved in on them or something.
Cool.
And so they moved over here. And ever since they moved over here, the shows have just been
that's
a lot
awesome.
Better. Yeah,
well, I know the gal who booked me was super kind, and that's always a good indicator that, hopefully, because you walk into some venues and definitely like sometimes you get the vibe if there's overhead music playing or house music, and you go, hey, I'm here to set up, and they're like, okay. Where it's like, y'all probably don't care if there's live music versus, house music. So give me 3 hours to do my thing and we'll be out of your hair.
The first live podcast that we did it in Tucson, actually. Mm-hmm. Like the first realized, fully produced, like the way we saw it going. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it was at a pinball bar.
Oh, gosh.
And so,
I can imagine.
Through the entire first 30 minutes, it was just clink, 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 clink,
bless.
and it's like
that's not distracting at all.
Not at all. Luckily, they got the clue, but
yeah, at least they were cool about it. There's just been.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you're on the back half of this tour and just ready to get back to Nashville at this point, or?
Yeah, I've got some time. I got a couple weeks and then I head out again. I'm driving. Excuse me.
Oh, you're good.
I'm driving to Seattle. I have a show, maybe 2 shows out there. I'm not really sure yet. Gonna go see some family.
Yeah.
And then a show in Spokane, and then the next day, June 18th, I'm in Bozeman.
Okay.
And that kind of starts my Montana-Wyoming run, which I've gotten to do for the last couple summers, and I love it.
So the trickery in Montana about it being dead summer but still being 40 degrees at night there.
You know what's funny is last year when I played, I rolled in. I went to Montana so many times, just driving back and forth all summer. But one of the trips, I think it was the big trip. It was end of May. I got there, was rolling in from South Dakota because my mom, like I said, she comes with me, and we were in the Badlands, just kind of tootling. And my family in Livingston called and was like, "Hey, they're expecting snow, and they might close down the pass, so y'all probably need to get here."
Yeah.
From Badlands, South Dakota.
Yeah.
And I needed to play night after next, I think, in Anaconda, which is another 2 hours past Bozeman. So we huffed it. It was the longest night. We rolled in to Bozeman at 2 a.m, and there was snow.
No, we're good. Thank you. No, we went up there in July, and we were up in Columbia Falls.
Yeah, beautiful. The Glacier National Park.
Yeah, and it was dead heat at July, and it was okay, not thinking anything of it. Figured it'd probably be a little bit cooler, but not anything. And we get wrapped up. We were doing a bunch of live recording sessions. Mm-hmm. And walked out. It was midnight, 1 a.m, and they're like, "Hey guys, you got coats or anything?" And I'm like, "No, it's July." He's like, it's 34 degrees outside.
It's July in Montana.
Right. I'm like, well, luckily the car's right there.
Yeah.
And we have this to pack up, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, I kind of love it though. I mean, I'm definitely, I don't know how much longer I'll stay in Nashville. It's all God's timing, of course.
Yeah.
So I'll stay as long as, he lets me stay. But I'm definitely kind of keeping my eyes set on the next landing spot.
Yeah.
And Montana's, if the prices ever come down, it's at the top of the list. I just love it so much.
Oh, they've got the Yellowstone bump, don't they, right now?
Yeah, it's that. And then like COVID brought a lot of Californians over
Yeah.
for the freedom.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's a harsh, rugged land, which I love. I'm super like landscape driven too, so I love the mountains. My thing is like, I need more trees.
Fair.
I miss the trees of Western Washington.
Fair.
So
Because that's where you're from, right?
yes, yeah. So I do miss it a lot, and I think maybe long term I'll end up back in Washington State, but that's like retirement, you know. So we're not. That's a tomorrow problem.
It's one of those things where it's like I've been kind of having that thing. Like I like Texas, but I don't know how much longer I'll stay, at least in the area that I'm at, just because we're getting a lot of that California stuff coming in as well, and it's just like driving the prices up. And
I just think it's everywhere, man. It's Nashville too, but it's also like you get a lot of New Yorkers coming down and Michigan people, which is great. I mean, it's definitely kind of causing the city to flourish more and more.
Yeah.
Some people really dig that. Some people really don't. I'm kind of in between. Like I, for so long, have felt like maybe my music didn't have a place in country music and in Music City. And so I don't know if it's because of the influx and maybe the change of pace that maybe it's offering more of an opportunity for my stuff to have more life, I guess. Maybe life's not the right word, but better reception.
Yeah. Because it seems like you're always coming out to the west, like the western region anyway. So
I love it. I love the people.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Montana was maybe not the first time, but one of the times that really stuck with me where I played this little venue, which shout out to Willie's Distillery in Ennis, Montana. I played there for the first time, and it's a 2-hour gig. Nobody knows me, and yet this couple comes in and sits down and is there for like the whole show. Yeah. And so by the end, there was like a little music festival in town happening at the same time I'm playing. Of course. And so it's just kind of us. And I love keeping it casual. So I start talking to them kind of like we're talking now, just conversationally. And by the end of it, they're like, well, no, actually, we're here to see you. And I was like, how are you here to see me? And they're like, well, we saw you were playing and we listened to you and really liked your stuff. And, long story short, they have become like family friends. And that happened with another couple there in Ennis, with a couple in some people in Anaconda. Like people, I think, really love music out there, and they're kind of still a music desert where, Montana's not at the top of the list for everyone to play. Bozeman's definitely like getting some footing in the music scene, which is super exciting. But people still appreciate music, and I think, in contrast, like to Nashville, people are so inundated with music all the time. Like, I don't know, no offense to my buddies who would do this, but like, I don't know how easy or how, pick a word, it could be to get somebody to drive like an hour and a half to see me play live, back in town. So,
it's one of those things, because back in Nashville, there's just so much music in close proximity. And because of kind of how Nashville is set up, it's like, okay, because I ran into that issue here in Roswell. Like anytime somebody, or a lot of local musicians here in Roswell run into that issue, like they try and play consistent gigs, but because if they go down and play Antigua and then they play here and kind of a few of the places, it's like the people kind of stop showing up consistently, because it's like, well,
they're our hometown guys.
Yeah, I can kind of catch you wherever I want.
Yeah, and I've wondered about that too, because I've been talking to musicians around, just kind of getting their scope on it. Because a big thing that I've really been taking interest in is like, do you have to be in Nashville anymore? And when it comes to making money, like, shoot, maybe I'm doing it wrong. And if anybody hears this and wants to, message me and give me advice, I'm all ears. But I end up spending more money to go play a writer's round just in parking or parking tickets than I will probably ever make, because they don't pay. You know, sometimes you get a generous tip and that's super nice, split 3 ways, whatever. But it's so expensive for not a lot of financial return from the singer-songwriter perspective. Studio musicians and session guys are way different, But, like, I'm still a barista during the day.
Fair.
So I always tell people, I'm like, if you're making money where you're at, keep doing that.
Yeah. If you've cracked the code, so to speak, just keep doing it. Like, your path will come, and, like, your dreams will just kind of unfold, because Nashville in general is a tricky town to kind of figure out, because they've ballooned up so fast. And if you're trying to play anywhere where the tourists are, I tried to go down Broadway one day when I was out there just to go visit. Yeah. And it was like $20 for an hour to park. And I'm like, I'm good. I don't know.
Well, even once you get down there, what's cool in a sense is, like, you walk down that street, and on either side of the street, every place you pass has different music. Yeah. So it's almost like getting inundated with a ton of radio stations at once. So it's if you're like me, it's like sensory overload. Yep. Yep. But there's cats down there, like, really doing it, and you wish them the best, and they're probably stronger than I am, because I can't imagine, like, hauling all your stuff in, finding parking, and then hauling all your stuff in, playing a few sets. Like 4 hours, I think, is the minimum. Yeah. And then especially those later, guys who come out at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, I think some of them probably still have day jobs, and then they go and wake up to do that, and go play midday gigs and night gigs, and hands down, like, great on them. Right. They are the ultimate specimens of musicians.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about people that are pulling 3-a-days down on Broadway, and it's like, I just don't know how you do that. That's
more power to them, though. Yeah. More power to them.
Yeah, it's a rare breed, to put to put it lightly. So I did want to jump into your fundraiser. You got your full Kickstarter for your new album.
Yes, praise God.
That's exciting.
I'm so excited.
How long? So is everything kind of ready to just jump into studio, or were you kind of at, as far as like pre-production before you jump into production?
So we kind of did it backwards. We have a lot of it recorded. Okay. I'm going in and re-recording the vocals right now because I jumped on this little run here in Texas and such. I'm a little bit more behind than I anticipated being.
Fair.
But I think it'll be fine. I've got some ancillary stuff, some fiddle and stuff like that to add in. Otherwise, it's ready for mixing and mastering and production. So a lot of that money is going to go towards the production costs. And then, like, physical stuff, CDs. People are still being super generous and giving, even though we've met our goal. So I'm trying to decide, Kickstarter suggests, like, doing a stretch goal. Yeah. So, offering a stretch goal of, like, if we hit 14,000, we'll definitely do vinyl for sure. Just kind of thinking of cool stuff to offer on top of that. So
nice. Kickstarter is something that I've never been really good at figuring out. Just because the idea of asking for money from complete strangers or friends, it's like...
Yeah. It can get a little cringy. Yeah. But you know what? The cool thing is you really find people do want to support music. And that's what's so humbling is, it makes you... It's hard to ask, but it also gives you such a sense of pride when they receive it and they do donate, because you sit there and you go, I know how hard I work for my money. I can imagine you work just as hard, if not harder, for your money. So for you to give that and donate to my music is such an honor. And it kind of eases that cringe a little bit, because that because of them, you're going to get to give this album a better life than you probably could have given it on your own.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
yeah.
So the name of the album is Cul de Sac Kid?
It sure is, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, Cul de Sac Kid.
Is that, I'm guessing, harkening back into your days in East Washington or West Washington?
It is, yeah. So while I am no longer a kid, it makes me feel young. I tell people, I'm like, this record's going to keep me young.
That's
But yeah, it's literally just about, growing up in Western Washington. I grew up in suburbia, essentially. I mean, I worked in what was basically known as a logging town. I associated with all these towns that were more rural than not. However, was I fully integrated into rural life? No. Like, I am blessed beyond measure. Not that they're not. Don't let me put my foot in my mouth. But, like, the life that I had was very suburban. And I've just always loved country music. And so with that, moving to Nashville, you've got so many cats who are from Georgia and Alabama, like the southern states, Texas, whatever. And it's like, yeah, they have a right to sing country. Do I have a right to sing country music?
Of course you do.
Oh, fundamentally, yeah. But when you're sitting there going, moreover, my dad had passed away from cancer the year before I moved. So I moved, I think, when I was 20. And he passed when I was 19. And so all of that weight was coming out in the music that I was making. And then I went to school and I got a degree in songwriting in Nashville. So you're sitting in classes every day where, you're carrying that weight and it's becoming evident in your music and it's maybe not getting the best reception. So the amount of times I've called my mother, crying and going, who told me I was good at this? This is crazy. Because I didn't really feel like I was succeeding in class. Mentally it was like, this is the town I've always wanted to live in. This is my dream degree. And here I am, like, not flunking, but
struggling.
Mentally flunking out of it. Like, I'm just not doing how I thought I was going to do.
Yeah.
And on top of it, like, I've always said, moving to Nashville was kind of a culture shock for me because it was not what I expected it to be, good, bad, or otherwise. I think in my mind, Nashville was going to be as maybe Nashville was in the 90s or 80s, maybe even the early 2000s, just because that's what my view was.
Right.
And there's a lot of cool people in Nashville, and there's a lot of people just doing it. And so here I was, like, feeling totally stranded, you know.
You were kind of getting tossed into the fire almost, like just moving to Nashville. And, like you said, you came from Washington, coming to Nashville, where even back in the, over the last 20, obviously over the last 10 years, Nashville has grown. But like, if you go back to when I first drove through Nashville, the first time I went to Florida with my parents, like, just remembering what the city was like. And it's like, that place has grown so much, and the talent there. Oh, it's insane. And it's just like, kids come in there fresh out of high school or college thinking like, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm ready for Nashville. And then they get that reality check. Yeah. And it's like, okay, how do you respond to it? It's not that you're not good or you can't hang, but some people grew up accustomed to the idea of, like, oh, I'm the best musician in my scene. Yeah. Or, like, I'm a really good musician in my scenes, so I'm going to just easily transplant to Nashville and be a really good musician there. I mean, full disclosure, I hope not from an arrogant air or whatever, but I kind of had that mindset where in my little scene back home, like, I was kind of known as the singer. Yeah. Not so much the guitarist, but like, oh, she can sing and play her own songs. Like, she's writing her own stuff. That's so cool. Yeah. So that was me, essentially, is that I moved there going like, this is great. Yeah. And then you kind of get slapped in the face with, holy moly, you were a small fish in a small pond, and this is a small fish in a big pond. Yep. You throw a rock, everyone's great. Yeah. So yeah, it took a long time to get over that, in the sense of, like, I spent so much time convincing myself that I
didn't have a place in Music City, you know, and so I was like, I can't go back to Washington. You know, Buddy had challenged me, like, play 20 shows in a year, and I was like, okay. You know, and it finally struck me as like, you know what, you either do that or you go home. And I didn't want to go home, but I also, like I said, I would play writers' rounds and stuff, and just didn't feel like my music was meaning anything to anyone.
Writers' rounds are tough, though. Like, just in general, like, I get the logistic of it and the thought behind it, but I don't know, just putting a bunch of singer-songwriters on this, because is it set up to where you, like, have 3 or 4 musicians and they're all on stage together, or do you guys go up separately?
No, we're all together, and I think it depends on who curates the round.
Okay.
You know, if there's thoughtful curation, I mean, I've played rounds where generally, let's say, like, I've played both where it's like 3 musicians or 4.
Yeah.
All 3 of us could be entirely different, you know, and then all 3 of us could be, you know, relatively similar enough.
Yeah.
So I think it's all in the curation, and there are some stellar writers' rounds hosts. Like, big shout out to Nashville Tour Stop.
Yep.
Aaron and Jesse and Allison at the Get Up. Those are the 2 that I play the most regularly, and I love them so much. I think they're wonderful. They really care about their musicians that they bring in, and are really mindful of what they present, because they know that their name is also attached to the show.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, that's what's cool is I've met some really cool people through that, you know. And then it's kind of fun. Like, the more you play them, the more you see people. You're like, we played together before, or I saw you at this round, you know. And you know, fundamentally, the idea is that you'll meet those people and then go, hey, you want to co-write?
Right.
I'm still working my way up to that. You know, I've been lone wolf at this for a long time, and that's a hard habit to break.
Fair.
And
I've heard that that's a very hard habit to break. A lot of musicians
you know,
are in that.
you've got these young kids who come to town, and they are just, like, on fire. They are ready to collaborate with everybody and their brother. And I think because of my story and how the chapter's laid out, like, coming off of losing someone that I loved so much, you know, and I closed down instead of bloomed. So I was like this backwards flower. Let alone get out and start playing shows. So I think that's what Cul de Sac Kid speaks to, is like the tagline, because that's the title track of the record, is Cul de Sac Kid, and the fundamental line is, you know, does country really need a country song from someone like me, from a Cul de Sac Kid like me, you know? Or, you know, at the end it says, yeah, you know, it does. I think it does. Who am I to say? I think it does.
Right.
I have to believe it does.
Well, you know, it's authentic to you. So that, like, that to me, that's what matters. And that's like, especially this day and age where genres, they still mean a little bit, but in my opinion, I think genres are kind of getting so cross. Like, if you go listen to a country, like a top 40 country station, like, we'll call it the top 40 country station.
Sure.
Half of those songs 10 years ago would not be considered country. Like, if you think about it. Like,
it's interesting to see or hear the evolution of music for sure, especially in this genre, because it is so fluid.
Yeah.
You know, but what's funny is I feel like when you ask artists what genre they are, they're going to be like, oh, I can't really put a pin in it. You know, I'm all these things.
Yeah.
But then when a regular person, everyday person comes up and goes, what music do you play? If you tell them, you know, something kind of out there, they, in my experience, they kind of look at you like, okay. So it is, in my personal opinion, this might not be the opinion of everybody. I think it's good to know what your core genre is.
Sure.
And then if you want to expound upon that, I mean, that's why I chose to call what I'm doing Cul de Sac Country.
Yeah.
Because people look at me and go, what's that? Right. And I go, I don't know. I'm figuring it out with y'all. But I like the way it sounds.
Right.
And to me, it leaves room for the people who have said I'm folk, and it leaves room for the people who say that I'm country. Because I want to be country, but I keep getting folk almost religiously. So, you know, leaning into it, Cul de Sac Country.
That's
it's
fair.
A little suburban, a little not.
That's fair. That's very fair. You know, and that's kind of the thing nowadays, is you just kind of got to figure out what your sound is and just run with it. Like,
yeah, and I think finding artists who, maybe have a bigger platform who you kind of anchor onto. So, and then being receptive of the artists that because people like to come up and be like, oh, you remind me of. So I've gotten a lot of Emmylou Harris, especially recently. But I love Drew Holcomb. And I think sonically, like if I were to think of Cul de Sac Country or like what the closest thing to that is, it would be somewhere between like Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors and Jason Isbell.
Nice.
The storytelling is there. Sonically, it can drift, and that's what I think we're doing on this new record is there's a song on there, which me and the guys were in the studio and we played it. And first time we played it, I sat there with the headphones on. I go, did anyone feel like that was a little kind of rock heavy?
Right.
And they're like, we thought that was cool. And I was like, you sure?
Right.
And they're like, well, it's up to you. But yeah, like it felt cool. And I was like, okay,
let's go with
let's do it, and for that, we've got that. And then we've got like a couple of cowboy songs on there. So, and then some like cinematic atmospheric stuff, which I always gravitate towards because it's, emotional, and I love that.
Yeah, for sure. So you're playing tonight here in Roswell. Mm-hmm. This will be, I think, as other than the acoustic session that we did in 2020, I think this will be the first time I see you perform live
Ooh.
in person.
Ooh, I hope to do well.
Yes,
I don't mess up.
No, you'll be great. How like obviously we're about an hour before your show here. What's running through your mind right now? How do you kind of start prepping for shows?
Well, I'm currently not dressed in the clothes that I'm going to wear. So that's kind of my first. I'm like, I did my makeup. That's nice. Probably touch that up. These girly things, I'm like, I got to put my dress on. I got to get in show outfit. But moreover, I'm like, okay, I got to set up the stage, which is the fun thing about this level of musicianship or artistry, I guess is the way to put it, is I get to load in all my own gear, which is fun. I have a really cool PA system that I recently invested in that I'm super stoked because it looks more professional than it is. So it makes me feel more professional, but it's still super easy to use because I am analog in a digital world. Right.
I need to invest in a better PA because every time we take it out, something breaks on it.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Like I bought brand new speaker stands. Mm-hmm. And the first show out, the wind caught the speaker and bent one of the legs.
Oh.
And it's like, I literally just paid like almost half of what I paid for the PA for these speaker stands.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, and it's like...
That's real dumb.
Okay, well, we're going to fix that. And
that's what just drives me nuts, is everything in the music business is expensive.
Yes.
There's no cheap thing.
Yes.
Your microphones are expensive. Your microphone stands are kind of expensive.
I don't even use... If I don't have to, I don't use stands. Like,
oh, man.
If I don't have to.
If I could do like the Britney Spears headset speaker thing, I would, but... Then I feel like Britney, and that's not, nobody needs that.
I bought the On-Stage brand, and those break after like 3 months.
Sure.
Especially when we were using them full time, we were breaking them out as much as musicians. Yeah. So it's just like, oh, this stripped and this disappears, and it's like, okay, I have a mic stand that is being held together by glue. Cool.
It's fine. It just adds character. I mean, other than that, I feel like I've got a good run of show, if you will. We kind of dialed it in. I've got everything organized to where, I'm a cable roller, so I try to keep everything as neat as possible so that I know I can get set up in 10 minutes. Yeah. Full everything.
How would you judge my cable rolling? They look...
I mean, I'm no expert, but they look like they're in a circle, so that's... job well done on my end.
That was beaten into me when I was in film school. Roll your cables and cable management.
I know. I'm also like, I would love to ask some AV guys. I'm like, do I roll it the right way? As long as it's in a circle, is that good? Or is there like a front to back, There
is a front to back technically, but with these have such a natural curve because they're cross-threaded. So like they have a natural curve to them, and I just kind of run it. Yeah, just follow the natural curve.
And it's like, work smarter, not harder.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. But I don't want to keep you here too much longer because you got about an hour, a little less than an hour. Whoops, my bad.
Oh, that's good.
But appreciate your time. For people to check out your music, Cul de Sac Kid, when it drops. Do you have a release date on that yet, or is it still?
I'm shooting for fall, so
Okay.
like end of October, early November, but like end of October, wink, wink.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
But yeah, the Kickstarter goes until May 17th, so whenever this comes out, it might be over. It might still be going. If y'all want to check that out, great. Otherwise, you can just head to jessjocoy.com or the socials, Jess Jocoy Official. I think that's my name now on both Facebook and Instagram. It was different, and I tried to streamline it.
Right.
But last time I checked, it was like, you're still Jess Jocoy Music. I'm like, all right.
Sweet. Hey, I went through about 6 months during the pandemic of like, all right, we're going to try and get these as close as possible. Like, even
Yeah.
if they're not exactly, if you start typing like the first 5 letters and it's like, okay, it pops up, you're good. So,
Totally. You know, I still have my first like Facebook profile out there,
Nice.
which is like Jessica Jocoy. It might be Facebook and Instagram, and I'm like, I can't even remember how to delete it. Like,
Right.
I can't remember all the passwords, so if you want to go follow her too, go ahead.
fair. I've been trying to do that, go out and delete some of my old stuff, and it's just like, I'm good. So,
It's just taxing. It's
Yeah.
like, whatever. If somebody finds it, great.
Yeah.
You know, you can see me as I looked at 16 years old.
Right.
Congrats.
fair enough. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you to Josh for letting us film here in
Yes.
the winery, and we will catch you all later.
Cheers.